And as I mentioned before, the title sponsor for tonight is the parent company of Bay News 9, Bright House Networks. It's a wonderful place to work. I have enjoyed it so much over the few years that I've been here. A great company. And now I'd like to introduce Joe Durkin. He'll have a few words and then introduce tonight's keynote speaker. So Bright House Networks, Joe Durkin, please welcome him.
Good evening. On behalf of all of us at Bright House Networks, hello, friends. You know, I am glad that you're all here. And Bright House Networks, our business solutions team, are honored to be partnered with so many of you to meet your business needs. For those few that may not have Bright House Business Solutions, we'll fix that tonight. You know, I had the honor to introduce our guest speaker tonight, but I also have a challenge in introducing her. And the challenge lies in the fact that there's been a lot of accomplishments behind her time serving this great community. And I promised Kathy that I try to keep it somewhat brief, but short. But this is a number of things that I think really merit recognizing Congresswoman for. Among the many causes she has championed the benefit of our community, the tax relief for middle-class families, the increase in student financial aid such as the Pell Grants. She's worked to capture every job and investment dollar under the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. She's brought jobs to our area. Kathy has worked to protect the Florida coastline, something near and dear to all of us here. Protect the Florida coastline from offshore drilling and took BP to task. She currently serves on a number of committees. The House Armed Services, the Budget Committee, the House Energy and Commerce Committee. She's very involved. She's also served on the House Ethics, the House Rules, and the Democratic House Steering and Policy Committee. Kathy, before her election to Congress, served as Hillsborough County Commissioner and the chair of the Hillsborough County Environmental Protection Commission, and was named the Tampa Bay Business Journal Woman of the Year in Government. It's evident we are incredibly fortunate to have Congresswoman Castor as this area's resounding voice on Capitol Hill, and now it's my pleasure to introduce you this evening, United States Representative and Tampa Bay friend and neighbor, Kathy Castor.
Joe, and thank you all for the opportunity to be here tonight. I want to thank Joe and everyone at the Bright House family for being such a strong supporter of the Chamber. Robin Soley, I salute you. You have done a remarkable job over the past years, and I'm not surprised at all that you were named the Professional of the Year in 2012. So Diane, Maureen, Clyde, all of you at the Chamber and on the board, congratulations. Look at this wonderful turnout tonight on a chilly Thursday evening when you've worked so hard all day long. I really am honored to join you tonight. I'm very happy to be here with my good friends, Pinellas County Commissioners Ken Welch and John Maroney and Janet Long. They are models of public service for this community, and I'm very proud to be with them tonight. But I really want to thank all of you here at the Chamber, Robin, Keith Overton, everyone at the Tradewinds, Greg Nicholas at the Serrata, all of the small businesses throughout this area, the fishing industry, everyone in the seafood business, because throughout the past couple of years you have been my partners in advocating for businesses to be compensated for the economic damage done by the BP Deepwater Horizon blowout. We have held, right here at the Tradewinds, a number of information sessions, small business outreach sessions, to make sure that if you suffered economic harm after that horrendous April 2010 blowout, that you knew how to file a claim and that you got compensated. How many many in the room here tonight did follow through? You suffered some harm and you filed a claim. And were you paid? Has it been a struggle? You continue to struggle with it? Well, we're here to help. We brought Patrick Juneau, the new court-appointed claims administrator here, after that flawed process of the Gulf Coast Claims Facility in Ken Feinberg. We brought Patrick Juneau here not too long ago, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but I know it's been a struggle. We've just lived through the most difficult economic time in our lifetimes, and I will never forget sitting down here with Patricia Hubbard from the Friendly Fisherman when she was really on her last leg after the recession with the double whammy after the BP blowout. And every day I think of the struggles of our small businesses and what it's been like over the past few years. But I think we can cheer the fact that things are looking up. We can cheer the fact that this has been a very good year for tourism and for the beautiful beaches of Pinellas County. Our Gulf Coast beaches continue to be the state's greatest treasure, and everyone in this room values this, and you work hard to keep it this way. People come from all over the world to stay in our hotels, eat in our restaurants, relax on the beach, and enjoy the Florida lifestyle. And so even though my congressional district is across the bay primarily in Tampa, I do have the majority of St. Petersburg and all of downtown St. Petersburg now. I pledge to you that I'm going to continue to be a fierce protector of small businesses in the entire area, a protector of clean water and clean beaches, because our success, our economic success in this area is all tied together. Your economic success is tied to the economic well-being of the folks that I represent throughout Tampa and St. Petersburg. And I also feel personally vested here in the Gulf Coast beaches because my grandfather owned a motel and beach cottages in Reddington for many years. I haven't even told Robin this. And it was a sad day when my grandfather sold that all to, I think, a bank, unfortunately. They put in another motel, and then, but it looks good today. Now, in the Congress, I've worked hard to win a seat on the committee that has the primary jurisdiction for travel and tourism. And that paid off in 2010 with the passage of the Travel Promotion Act, otherwise known as Brand USA or DiscoverAmerica.com. How many of you have heard of the new National Travel Promotion Act, Brand USA? I can see DT has done his work here, but he's just getting started. For those of you that don't know about Brand USA and DiscoverAmerica.com, that is the first real public-private partnership to help market the United States of America to people and businesses all across the globe. Over the past decade, the U.S. had slipped behind other countries. Didn't it drive you crazy? If you're in the tourism industry or tied to it, you turn on the TV, and there's Australia marketing, or Canada is marketing. Well, the U.S. was not keeping up. We were not doing the same thing. In 2010, we passed that law, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we develop an additional strategy to build on that progress. So I'm hopeful. After those difficult years, here we are, 2011. 2 years ago, we saw the state of Florida 6% increase in tourism, over $67 billion to our economy. The local statistics are very positive. Last year, more than 13.7 million visitors vacationed in St. Petersburg and Clearwater, making it the most popular destination on the west coast of Florida. We saw an uptick in the bed tax collection, the area of residents being employed in tourism, and wages are up. So let's keep this momentum going. And I want to recommend to you 3 strategies. First, on the BP Deepwater Horizon disaster. We've got to ensure that all of our businesses here, if you have your claims submitted for economic damage, we've got to champion their cause. Many of them are in this holding pattern and pending in front of Patrick Juneau in the court. We've got to develop a greater strategy to advocate for these Florida West Coast businesses. A lot of people think, well, there was oil only on the shores of Louisiana and the Panhandle, and what do those businesses down in Pinellas County or Lee County or Sarasota County or Key West, what harm did they suffer? And then you look at the numbers, the economic damage. Recently, the federal judge there approved the settlement for all business damage. Patrick Juneau, the administrator, says he's got $7.8 billion to pay out on those settlements. If you provided the paperwork, you should get paid. Already in the state of Florida, we have received over $3 billion for businesses and individuals in Florida. Floridians submitted almost 34,000 claims, and nearly 1/3 of the total claims submitted for economic damage counting Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. The Clearwater Claimant Assistance Center had the most claims submitted out of all the Florida assistance centers, with just over 1,300 claims submitted. Why? Because we were proactive. We had the outreach sessions. The chamber was a very outspoken advocate, but I'm afraid now we had some businesses that didn't have that paperwork. It took them time to get. I mean, many of them are running small businesses and mom and pop shops. We've got to ensure here over the next few months that we advocate for those claims to be paid. Those with the money back into their pockets helps all of us. If you are in a seafood business, the deadline is coming up just next week, next Tuesday. Anyone in the seafood business, fishing industry has until January 22nd to submit a claim. BP is also going to end up owing the state of Florida and local governments throughout the Gulf Coast very significant sums. I've been very disappointed that Governor Scott has not been as aggressive as possible in going after BP. Remember Governor Chris, when he was governor, he had attorneys, he had a task force, he was going to take them to, well, we were going to find justice. We were going to find justice for the lost tax revenue and damage to the state of Florida. I'd like to see us put a little more pressure on the leadership in Tallahassee to go after those dollars. Why are we not funding public schools? Why do we always struggle with the state budget? We've got to fight for every dollar that's due, and do not let BP off the hook for one dime of the damage that they have caused. It's the same thing with local governments throughout the state, too. Some have been very aggressive, and others could be more so. Then the third part of it is a big enchilada that Robin and all of you, we can develop another very clear-cut strategy. Besides the personal business claims and the state and local claims, BP is going to be subject to the greatest penalty in the history of the country under the Clean Water Act. Under the Clean Water Act, if you are negligent, they are going to owe anywhere from $5 billion to $20 billion back to the Treasury. Now, in this past session of Congress, we passed a law that says 80% of those fines and penalties under the Clean Water Act have to be returned to the Gulf Coast states. So say it's a $20 billion settlement, which is probably more likely than going to court. A $20 billion settlement. 35% of that will go to the Gulf Coast states. Additional monies will go to research and recovery. More monies will go to fisheries throughout the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, has never gotten the federal investment that it deserves. And because our economy is directly tied to a clean and healthy environment, this is vitally important for us. Louisiana has been very aggressive in trying to capture as many dollars as possible. We've got to be more so. It's important for tourism promotion, where some of those dollars can go. It's important for the monitoring of the health of Gulf waters, and fisheries have never gotten the investment. If any of you are from the Chesapeake Bay area, or you grew up around the Great Lakes, in federal law right now, you get automatic dollars every year in the federal budget. The Gulf of Mexico has never gotten its fair share. We've got to fight for our fair share, and it's not going to be oftentimes a single congresswoman or Bill Young and I doing that. It's going to take all of you raising your voices. the state of Florida has not had a coherent plan on how to develop those billions, millions of dollars that will come to this area. One area where we could really benefit, and we have already because we bullied BP a little bit, is to expand the University of South Florida Marine Sciences. In the new Restore Act, not only do we say 80% of the fines and penalties go to the Gulf Coast for economic and environmental restoration, but a significant amount will go to a new Center for Excellence in Marine Sciences, one in each state. We added some language that puts the University of South Florida St. Pete at the top, go Bulls, at the top of the list. So that wonderful job-creating, cutting-edge research that already is going on at USF St. Pete can now be expanded. I predict here over the next 10 years, you're going to see even a greater transformation generated by marine sciences and the additional research there if we're successful in going after these dollars with a coherent plan, and that's where the business community can help play a role. So in the end, we won't know exactly how much money will come to this area, but we've got to develop a plan of action. Many other local communities around the Gulf Coast are doing that right now. On travel promotion and tourism, here's an interesting statistic for you all. Last winter, the St. Pete Clearwater area saw a 42% increase in tourism from Latin American visitors. Have you noticed? Have you noticed this? Clearly, this is going to be a region that we need to focus on in the coming years. I'll give you an example tonight. Right here at my table, our Bright House table, I have a woman from Venezuela, a woman from Brazil, a gentleman from Peru. This is going to be one of our growth sectors. Their economies are doing particularly well. Europe is a little shakier. We're going to continue to expand the marketing to Europeans, to Germans, to the English, but we've got to pay greater attention to Latin America. Have you driven around Disney World or Universal and happened to notice all of the new Brazilian restaurants? Do you have any here on the beach? We need to open some because the Brazilians now are known for very significant investments and vacations and buying and purchasing. Miami and South Florida has figured it out, and we've got to do a better job. One of the areas that we can focus on is the new Brazilian visa waiver program that allows the Brazilian families to leave the country easily. We pressured President Obama last year, and he added 2 new consulates to the country of Brazil. But it's a huge country with many people with dollars in their pocket that want to come here and spend it. We need more Brazilian waivers, and as a result, I think we could help grow the whole piece of the pie in this area. I asked Joe Durkin with Bright House, does he have a Portuguese station on the Bright House network? And he said he was going to look into it. But this is also should be an area of focus for this chamber moving forward. And with the Travel Promotion Act, you're very fortunate to have D.T. Minnick as one of your champions already, to be that voice for the St. Pete Clearwater beaches on this new Brand USA DiscoverAmerica.com. They have a very significant pot of money, no taxpayer dollars, at work now through this public-private partnership. But when you look at the folks on the board, they're the big boys. They're the big players, Disney and other major attractions. And we've got to continue to explain and make sure we get our piece of the pie here, that it's the small businesses, the mom and pop hotels, motels, and their related businesses along the beaches, the most beautiful beaches in the world, where we have the most beautiful sunsets, where people where we can market and bring in international travelers from all across the world. Good news when it comes to Brand USA is they hired Chris Thompson, the former president and chief executive officer of Visit Florida. He was appointed last September as president and CEO of the Corporation for Travel Promotion. So let's fight for those finite dollars. These are just a few recommendations I have, but I'm so proud of you all that with all of the hard work that you're doing, the community looks great. Mayors and council members and commission members, the money you're putting into redevelopment here along Gulf Boulevard and all of the other areas looks fabulous. And hopefully with the improving economy, we can do even more. Let me put in one plug, since I'm fortunate to represent Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. Next year, it looks like the County Commission is going to put on the ballot a new transit initiative to bring light rail to this community. If you've traveled anywhere across the world, you understand how vitally important those connections are to communities that want to grow their tourism base. I'm very hopeful that this chamber will take a positive stand on that. And I'm confident that in the leadership of the commissioners who are here to do that. I think that would spur even greater redevelopment along this beautiful coastline and create business and business opportunities for all of you. So that's my friendly advice tonight. Let's figure out a strategy on bringing the BP dollars to this community and to our small businesses. Let's work to expand opportunities for Latin America and all international travelers to come here and spend money. Let's think about further redevelopment opportunities tied to transit, and I think the future years are going to be especially bright. I also have a short plug. I have a job fair coming up at the Coliseum Thursday, February 21st. I'm looking for businesses who are hiring. I need you. If you are hiring employees, we are going to do some very strong marketing to bring in folks who still need jobs, and there's no better place to start than in hospitality and many of your small businesses. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here tonight. I think the future is very bright.